Hello, beloved chosen ones. How are you feeling today? Before we explore the mystery that has been whispering through the silence, I want to pause and thank every single soul who keeps this channel alive. Your thumbs UPS, your heartfelt comments, your subscriptions, and especially your super thanks donations fuel this ministry of encouragement. Whether you have ever sent a gift or simply press play to receive today's word, know that your presence matters. I see you, I honor you, and I am grateful beyond measure for your support, your time, and your trust in this community. Now, let us turn to the high-pitched tone that seems to appear out of nowhere, lingers for a heartbeat, and then fades as quickly as it arrived, the ringing in your ears. Some people shrug it off as background noise. Yet many of you have felt a tug in your spirit each time it happens. Could it be that the universe, the angels, or God himself is trying to reach you through frequency instead of language? If this subject stirs something inside you, type 777 in the comments right now as a sign that you are open to divine guidance and ready to decode the message. Let's fill the chat with 777s and see how many of us are hearing the same call. What might this ringing actually mean? After years of prayer, study, and listening to testimonies from thousands of viewers, I have distilled 7 core interpretations. I invite you to hold them lightly, test them in your own life, and journal what resonates. First, the ringing can be a direct call to awakening. In Scripture, Elijah did not find God in the earthquake, the wind, or the fire. He perceived the Almighty in a still, small voice. In the same way, the subtle tone you hear may be the Spirit nudging you to look beyond the ordinary. Notice when it happens. Is it during prayer, just before sleep, or while you're meditating? Those are the moments when your defenses drop and your soul is most receptive. Instead of brushing the sound aside, breathe deeply, thank God for speaking, and ask what he wants you to know. Second, the ringing often signals a shift in your energetic frequency. The great inventor Nikola Tesla taught that everything in the universe vibrates. When your vibration rises, you begin to pick up wavelengths that were previously imperceptible. Think of it like a radio that suddenly catches a higher band broadcast. If you have recently stepped into new spiritual practices, fasting, worship, nature walks, or deeper study, you may notice the tone becoming more frequent. It is confirmation that your inner frequency is tuning upward. Third, the ringing is an invitation to pause and document. Leonardo da Vinci filled notebook after notebook with sketches and insights because he understood that patterns only reveal themselves over time. Do the same each time the tone appears. Jot down the exact time, the ear in which you heard it, the thoughts running through your mind, and the emotions present in your body. After a few weeks, you may discover that the ringing shows up whenever you are about to make a big decision or whenever a specific person crosses your thoughts. Patterns reveal purpose. Fourth, the ringing accompanies the sometimes uncomfortable process of awakening. Abraham left everything familiar without a roadmap. Moses doubted his own voice. The disciples wrestled with fear even as miracles unfolded. Likewise, you may feel disoriented as your intuition sharpens, your empathy deepens, and your perception widens. You might suddenly sense the atmosphere of a room or feel the emotions of a stranger. When that happens, retreat to stillness, ground yourself in nature, or sit in quiet worship until clarity returns. Fifth, pay attention to which ear receives the signal. The left ear is the gateway of intuition and inner guidance. A tone on that side usually means the message is rising from your own soul. Slow down, trust your gut, or honor your emotions. The right ear, by contrast, is linked to external alerts. A sudden ring there can mean that someone is speaking about you. An opportunity is approaching, or a situation around you requires discernment. Winston Churchill survived wartime dangers by acting on subtle warnings. You can do the same by heeding the direction of the tone. Sixth, sometimes the ringing is a warning about negative energy in your environment. The Bible teaches that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces. If the tone arrives while you are in a crowded store that feels heavy, in conversation with someone whose words drain you, or scrolling content that leaves you anxious, consider it a prompt to shield yourself. Whisper a prayer, visualize light around your body, excuse yourself politely, burn sage when you get home, or play worship music to lift the atmosphere. Seventh, the ringing can signal energetic purification. When higher light floods your system, lower vibrations must surface to be released. Old memories may pop up, unexplained tears may flow, or fatigue may set in. Do not panic. Take a salt bath with lavender, breathe deeply into your belly, and exhale the weight of yesterday. Isaiah says, "Forget the former things. See, I am doing new thing." The tone is the bell that announces this new thing inside you. Healing sometimes sounds like ringing. Beloved, none of these meanings are mutually exclusive. At different seasons, the ringing may guide, confirm, warn, or cleanse. What matters is that you stay present enough to interpret it. So let's practice right now. Close your eyes. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale for 4, and let your shoulders drop. Feel the peace that follows. That is the state in which answers come. If the tone appears during this exercise, smile. You're tuned in. I also encourage you to cultivate a sacred space. It could be a corner of your bedroom, a favorite park bench, or even the front seat of your parked car. Keep a candle, a Bible, a journal, or anything that helps you focus. Visit that space daily, even if only for 5 minutes. Over time, the atmosphere there will become charged with expectation, making it easier to hear subtle guidance, including the ringing. Whenever the tone appears, run through a quick checklist. Ask yourself what you were just thinking, what emotion you're feeling, which ear registered the sound, and what is happening in your environment. Then decide whether you need to act, pray, rest, or simply observe. Discernment grows through practice, not theory. If this teaching resonates, smash that like button and share the video with a friend who keeps asking, "Why do my ears ring?" Let's spread revelation, not confusion. And remember, if you feel led to sow a seed through super thanks, your generosity helps us push this message farther than any algorithm ever could. But even if you cannot give financially, your comment, your 777, and your prayerful presence are priceless. They tell the platform that spiritual content matters. Let me give you a practical assignment. Tonight before bed, sit in silence for 5 minutes. Place your hand over your heart, breathe slowly, and simply listen. If the ringing appears, ask, "What are you inviting me to release? What new truth are you inviting me to embrace?" Write whatever comes without censoring. Tomorrow morning, read what you wrote. You may be surprised at the clarity that emerges overnight. The subconscious mind continues the conversation while you sleep. Some of you have written to say that the ringing intensified during times of great stress, job loss, relationship upheaval, illness. I hear you. Remember that pressure can turn coal into diamonds. When everything familiar seems to crumble, the ringing may be heaven's way of saying, "Hold on, something better is forming." Romans 8:28 assures us that all things work together for good to those who love God. Keep loving, keep trusting, and keep listening. Others report that the tone showed up right before a major breakthrough. A promotion, a creative idea, a reconciliation. Pay attention to that pattern. Blessings often announce themselves softly before they manifest loudly. If the ringing comes while you're brainstorming or dreaming, capture every idea quickly. It may be the missing puzzle piece you have prayed for. You might wonder, How do I know the difference between a medical condition like tinnitus and a spiritual signal? That is a wise question. I am not a doctor, and if you have persistent ringing, you should absolutely consult a healthcare professional. Yet many physicians will tell you that no physical cause can be found. When science has no answer, spirituality often does. Pray for discernment. If the sound feels neutral or irritating but empty, it may be purely physiological. If it feels charged with meaning, peace, or urgency, consider the spiritual dimension. Balance prayer with practical wisdom. Now, let's deepen your toolbox with 3 advanced practices. First, the breath of 7 invites you to inhale, hold, exhale, and rest for 7 counts, aligning your body with biblical completion. Second, the scripture echo asks you to open the Bible at random after the tone and record the verse that meets your eyes. Third, a gentle sound bath meditation lets external music merge with the inner ring before you know whatever insight follows. Each tool trains your senses to cooperate with heaven's frequency. I also want to dismantle fear. Some write, what if the ringing means I'm under attack? Remember, fear is faith in the enemy. Psalm 27 declares, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Approach every sign with confidence that you are loved, protected, and empowered. Even a warning is a gift because it gives you time to respond. Let us unpack each interpretation a little further because revelation grows when we linger. When the ringing is an awakening call, it often coincides with what mystics call the thin place, the brief overlap between earthly reality and heavenly possibility. Celtic Christians believed that in thin places the veil separating the natural from the supernatural becomes almost transparent. You might feel goosebumps, sense a breeze in a windless room, or perceive colors more vividly. In those moments, the sound operates like a key turning in a lock. One viewer wrote that the tone arrived as she watched sunrise over the ocean. As the light spread, she felt prompted to forgive someone she had resented for years. She obeyed, and a week later the person phoned to apologize. Coincidence or confirmation that obedience to the whisper unlocks reconciliation? Regarding frequency shifts, remember that scientists have proven the human ear detects only a narrow slice of the acoustic spectrum. Dogs hear whistles we cannot. Whales communicate through infrasonic waves that travel across oceans. If creation is that diverse, why would spirit limit itself to our tiny band of perception? The Apostle Paul hinted at hidden frequencies when he said, we see through a glass, darkly. The ringing may be spirit's way of widening the glass. Documentation is not busy work. It is spiritual stewardship. Habakkuk 2 verse 2 commands, write the vision, make it plain. Imagine future generations reading your journal and discovering a timeline of divine nudges that guided your destiny. You might think your life is ordinary, yet someone in the future could draw strength from the pattern of your obedience. Your notebook could become a modern book of Acts. Awakening discomfort is real. Caterpillars liquefy inside the chrysalis before emerging as butterflies. Seeds crack, shells break, and soil shifts before a sprout pushes through. Likewise, you may experience fatigue, vivid dreams, or sudden cravings for healthier food. Honor those signals. Drink more water, rest when needed, and surround yourself with uplifting voices. Not everyone will understand your transformation, and that is okay. Jesus had to leave certain villages to fulfill his mission. Left-right discernment can sharpen over time. A subtle, low hum in the left ear might be a gentle nudge, whereas a piercing, high-pitched whistle in the right ear could demand urgent attention. Track not only the side, but also the tone quality, soft, loud, constant, or intermittent. Over months, you will recognize personal Morse code. I once ignored a shrill right ear ring while rushing to a meeting. Halfway there, my car tire blew out. Had I paused, perhaps I would have chosen a different route or left 10 minutes later and avoided the hazard altogether. Environmental warnings often manifest as a cluster of signs: ringing, a sudden chill, and tightness in the solar plexus. Do not demonize people, but do discern atmospheres. Jesus dined with tax collectors, yet withdrew when crowds tried to crown him king prematurely. He read energy and adjusted accordingly. You can do the same without judgment. Simply notice, bless, and step back. Purification can be accelerated through creative release. Dance until sweat drips. Paint with colors that match your emotions. Sing at the top of your lungs, or write letters you never sent. Movement moves energy. King David danced before the Lord with all his might and found freedom others considered undignified. Sometimes the ringing is heaven's drumbeat inviting you to move. Parents, pay attention if your children mention ear ringing. Young ones are often more sensitive because their minds have not been conditioned to dismiss the supernatural. Teach them to pray, to thank God for his voice, and to tell you what they sense. Guiding them early prevents fear and fosters lifelong intimacy with spirit. Community amplifies clarity. That is why I cherish our comment section. When one person shares that the ringing preceded a creative download, someone else halfway across the globe realizes they experienced the same pattern. Testimonies create a map of the unseen. So please, after this video ends, scroll through the comments and encourage at least 2 people. You might be the confirmation they have been praying for. Quantum physicists speak of entanglement. Particles separated by miles still influence each other instantly. Prayer works on a similar principle. When we agree in faith, distance dissolves. So when you type 777, you are not merely tapping keys. You are entangling your intention with a global family of seekers, amplifying the signal of heaven. Some of you are night owls. Hearing the ring around 2 or 3 a.m. Jewish tradition calls those hours the 4th watch, a strategic time for angelic activity. Jesus walked on water during the 4th watch. If you're awakened by the tone, sit up, whisper a prayer, and ask, who needs intercession right now? Your obedience could shift circumstances on the other side of the planet. I look forward to your testimonies. Until then, keep your journal open, your spirit tuned, and your courage high. The best is yet to come. Stay blessed, stay vigilant, stay joyful.